Hello, and thanks for coming out to the presentation today on policy assessment, brought to you by the Penny Insurance Center. Penny Insurance is celebrating its 40th anniversary as an insurance agency, and we are also a national marketing organization in all 50 states, working with 100 different insurance carriers to provide our agents the best available solution in the marketplace. Very fitting for the policy assessment program that we have. It's all about compliance and market objectivity and finding the most suitable opportunity for the client at any given time. And we're really going to expose sort of the changes in the industry and changes in the marketplace and why this is important to you, the advisor, and ultimately why it's important to the consumer, and some of the benefits that can be available to you by using our policy assessment program here at the Penny Insurance Center. My name is Paul Sanfilippo, and I'm a brokerage director here at Penny Insurance, and I've been working in this capacity for about 8 years. My prior life has been as an individual life insurance agent, as well as a financial advisor and a retirement planner, and a private banker. So I've kind of seen it from all sides of the fence, different philosophies, and policy assessment has always been the driving force for me to open up every door, whether it was a business owner, an estate plan, an individual financial plan. Risk management is always so key in any planning process that, life insurance review has always been the cornerstone to my success. And, even working in the capacity as a brokerage director, we've reviewed close to 10,000 different insurance policies over the course of a decade. And we see a lot of consistency across the board with agents not being able to have these conversations because they feel it's their fault. And we're here to show you today that, this is really an industry problem, and you at the advisor can come in on your white horse and really save the day. So let's jump into this and talk a little bit about policy assessment. Before we start, I just wanted to make everybody realize this is a financial professional driven presentation that, by no means is this really built for a client presentation. And to kick off the agenda today, we've really had to break this up into 3 parts. I've given this presentation thousands of times, and I'm going to try to just talk to you off the cuff today, very real from an advisor's perspective, and what I think is important knowledge for you to have when you're out there prospecting and talking to clients about life insurance, permanent life insurance nonetheless. So in the first part, we're really going to focus on the lives of the consumer and the changes that are going on in the industry, and give you some ideas on, the top 10 things that you could be thinking about or discussing with the client that would encourage them to do a review. We really want to definitely focus on how the industry has created most of these issues with failing life insurance policies. We see 60% of all policies doomed to fail, and there's better opportunities in the marketplace for them. And so it's important to understand how the industry has revolutionized itself, and really product enhancement has been at the cornerstone of the last 5 to 10 years for most insurance carriers to build better products than ever before. So, we want to arm you with the information necessary to alleviate any pressure of this being your fault and really coming in and providing a tangible solution to your clients. So life insurance being purchased really today hasn't changed much. I mean, we provide a final expense, a benefit to our family, the people that we love. We want to maintain and ensure, that the families and the lives that we've built can go on without us, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 50 years from now. The legacy providing opportunity is tremendous. Protecting our businesses that we built, protecting the key employees that are running our business to ensure that our business has sustainability, because there's many people's lives that could be affected if a key person goes down or if a business fails. We've obviously branched into looking at cash value life insurance and the infinite banking system, providing tax-free retirement income, and all of these things are very important processes and solutions for individuals that are trying to ensure that not only can they protect themselves, they can protect their families, they can protect their incomes, businesses, and provide a benefit for generations to come. And what we always realize is that, just because changes are going on in the environment, our consumers' lives change on a consistent basis. And we really want to help navigate, their financial plans and retirement plans to meet their needs today, not as it was originally intended 10, 15 years ago when they first started off on this journey of life insurance planning. So, it's our job as advisors to make sure that these needs are being met, and as their needs change, so should their products. So when we think about what affects the policies and you start looking through your portfolio, you start discussing opportunities with clients, I mean, what changes obviously will always affect is families, as their family grown or contracted over the last 3 or 5 years. That clearly can affect the needs for life insurance. We talk about people retiring, getting promotions and demotions, and all of these things impact the way cash value life insurances are funded or the need for the amount of life insurance. We talk about assets coming in and out. We talk about people's health and how they've changed. They've gained weight, they've lost weight, and all these things obviously have an impact. And, people bought new assets, bought new homes, bought new cars. All these things, drive relevance into, why people should be doing a review on a consistent basis. And, it gets back to the same thing. We don't want to leave any stone unturned, and all their needs should be met in a sufficient manner. So our top 10, I think everybody has a top 10, and right out of the gate, if people haven't conducted a review in the last 3 years, I mean, now's the time to do it. I mean, they shouldn't be wasting any more time to sit down and look at the policy performance before it is too late. Goals have changed. We've gone through a major recession, and obviously they look at life much differently than they did 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Needs are increased and decreased. We've been highly motivating people to sit with attorneys and put trusts together, and a lot of times people aren't funding those trusts. So beneficiaries designations aren't correct, ownership isn't structured correctly, and all these things are all uncovered through the policy review aspect of it. People have lost businesses or gained businesses. We've talked about health changes, and we just want to make sure at the end of the day the policy is cost effective. They're getting the biggest bang for their buck. We're providing more benefits today in life insurance policies than ever before, access to their policies while they're alive, not just if they die. And that's very important to a lot of people when they start thinking about the long-term approach to life insurance. We've encouraged people to borrow against their life insurance policies, and we want to look at what the ramifications would be if we don't pay them back correctly. And obviously, due to financial hardship, people's payment premiums are inconsistent, and obviously those have adverse effects to policy performance, and those things need to be reviewed. So, with this being said, we really want to focus on what has been going on in the industry. Back in 1933, when the Glass-Steagall Act was enacted, this was really to protect the consumer. We came out of a depressionary state. We went into a major recession, and, the governing people of the time recognizes that we had to put up some walls. We had to separate banks and institutions and insurance companies from trying to conduct the same business. We needed to be prudent by nature, that the constituents, the consumers, weren't highly educated and could be easily misled and misguided to, the opportunity of a lot of upside potential without understanding the downside, and that caused a great deal of recession when people started pulling money out of the bank. So they divided it, and it was secure, and it was safe, and it was really there to protect the individuals. But, we spent about 30 years of deregulation, and in the 1980s, we really started pushing to break down these walls, that big business needed the ability to have multiple sources of an income, and they should be able to operate in all areas of the financial services world. And, Glam-Leach-Bliley Act basically repealed the Glass-Steagall and allowed major institutions to really get in and diversify their business practices. This was supposed to better the world and better the economy, and keep this bit too big to fail scenario alive. And with that being said, we saw a lot of changes in the landscape. In private mutual life insurance companies became demutualized, and obviously with the demutualization of these companies, there was a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. I believe when Citi bought Travelers, they became the largest financial institution in the world. So very relevant across the board when you start thinking about the kind of capital and power that these institutions started to create, and it changed the way we did business as advisors and agents. Competition got real fierce out there, and there was a huge squeeze on commissions because obviously there was a much more fair and competitive marketplace. Technology revolutionized the way carriers were doing business. We have an Easy Life process and system that allows agents to refer the business on over through this process that allows the client to walk through a 10-minute telephone interview, and within 10 minutes can have an exam ordered, a complete life insurance policy application completed in good order for them to digitally sign electronically, for the advisor to sign, and then up at the carrier in under 20 minutes. Pretty amazing that the technology has come that far for people that have very busy lifestyles, that don't have the time to sit in front of an agent and would normally push off the ability to get into underwriting for weeks, if not months, just because time didn't allow. And so as this evolution started to change in the marketplace, MGAs, BGAs, these third-party institutions like ours really started to evolve because the need for expertise grew tremendously. And, we had to step up and be sort of this third-party support, this back office, the educator to the advisor, the agent's agent, the advisor's advisor, to help them navigate through this course of hundreds of different insurance companies, thousands of different insurance products, to create a fair and competitive marketplace for the consumer, because they can easily get online and go to buylifeinsurance.com and see 40 of the most competitive insurance quotes and insurance carriers in the country that completely made sure that us as personal advisors and agents had access to this as well. And peer-to-peer influence has changed the marketplace. I mean, companies like Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and so on are really changing the way that we perceive purchasing anything, and we really rely on what we can see, what other people tell us, and the experiences of those we trust favor the decisions that we make when we have some really important buying decisions to make. So the world has changed tremendously, and it's our job as advisors and agents is to unilaterally be able to step in and provide more to the consumer, not just from a compliance perspective, but really from an educational perspective. So, policy assessment is sort of the driving component to all that. So what did the industry do? It had to respond to all this. We saw, not only did it become more efficient from a technology perspective, but changed the way products were being built. A lot of it had to do with the fact that products completely changed. Performance of those products were not meeting expectations. Interest rates have come down dramatically since the 80s. Investments were not performing. We were looking at 12%, 13, 14% returns, and over the last 10 years, we're not seeing that easy return inside those portfolios. And obviously, mortality tables have changed significantly. We've already updated our tables from 1980 to 2001, which means their association to cost of insurance is completely different from someone who bought a policy and was considered 50 versus someone who would buy a policy today isn't considered 50. So obviously, the industry had to respond. They see that people are living longer. They realize that, hey, we could put out new products today that would be less expensive for the same amount of coverage. We can provide more benefits for the same amount of premium, or we can provide the same premium for the less premium outlay. And the ability to see in and actually see where the cost of insurance is in these products allows you to compare products side by side, which completely has changed the landscape of how we provide life insurance. So when you think about this as a whole, we want you to understand as an advisor, as an agent, that this isn't your fault, that you need to get out and have these conversations with your existing permanent book of business, those that want to be perceived, as a trusted advisor amongst advisors in the community, attorneys and CPAs. This is a program that you can bring from a networking perspective, from a client solution perspective, to show them that you not only understand how important it is to sit down and review the needs and understand the benefits of what the client is looking for, but to do a fiduciary review and to ensure that their policy is compliant, and ultimately making sure that it's going to meet the solution that's expected, down the road. So, we encourage you to understand that life insurance policies were bought for the same reason. Even though the goals are changed, it's always there to protect what's most important to you. That clients' needs are always continually changing, and us as advisors are supposed to respond and be there to show them new opportunities in the marketplace and how to expose the inefficiencies of their current product portfolio. We've given you 10 ideas to start to strike up conversations with people and why policy review is so important. We've taken the burden off your shoulders and made you realize that this isn't your problem, but it is your client's problem, and products have changed dramatically, and we need to be able to expose those clients to new opportunities and new ideas, and that it's very important that we take the lead on this, because The second presentation will really focus on what happens if we don't step up to the plate and start helping our clients fix these problems. So the second part of the agenda, you can reach out and see. It's really going to focus on why this is important to you as the advisor and the agent, and everybody involved in this transaction can get looped back into this process. The rules and regs obviously are changing the way the thinking is done, and we're going to really focus on what the UPIA means to you as an advisor, as an agent, which really wasn't the foremost topic when we sat down and started talking to people of being prudent as an agent. Rulings and appeals that have come down that really are driving the change. We're going to talk to you about a third party that really picks up that liability and does the fiduciary review, that could be there for you. And this is all about rephrasing, reformatting, putting you back in front of your clients or prospective clients as the trusted advisor, the person to turn to that has the most fair and objective solution to the marketplace to ensure that clients' needs are being met. So I appreciate you stepping up and listening to the presentation today. Obviously, we're here to support you. My name is Paul Sanfilippo, and I'm brokerage director here. I'm very pleased to spend some time with you. You can reach me here at Penny Insurance, as well as on the website at pennyinsurance.com, as well as Easy Life Sales that I talked about in the presentation. And I'm slowly building out my blog, so if you want to connect with me there as well, and you can reach me at paulsanfilippo.com. All right, thanks for attending the presentation, and I look forward to talking to you in the second part of the agenda.